You can make $10,000 in 1 hour securing sponsors. I want to tell you how you can do so. One is to understand the concept of event sponsorship and knowing how to secure sponsors. The second is knowing the right person. And the third one is taking action. So, for the first step, understanding event sponsorship and how to secure sponsors. Well, first, what's a sponsor? A sponsor is an entity that funds events. An entity can be an individual, it can be a corporation, a brand, or any other type of entity. How does sponsors help you save and make money? And I'm going to share that with you. Before, let's get rid of the major common misconceptions about event sponsorship. So the first one is sponsorship is begging, and that's not true. You're offering value to the sponsors. So in exchange for the funding that you are receiving, you're giving sponsors value that will help them achieve their goals and their objectives, help them solve a problem. It has to be something in it for them. Another misconception is sponsorship is donation, and that's not true. Sponsorship is money given to nonprofit organizations as well as for profit. Now, when we get rid of all these misconceptions, we are able to approach the process successfully. So it's very important that we get rid of all these misconceptions, okay? The third one is sponsors and advertisers are the same. That is not true. Sponsors look to get into in front of a pure demographic, whereas advertisers it's different. Okay. In addition to, there's something that's called private sponsors, and private sponsors do not want any visibility, do not put their name out there. So that's totally different. Okay. Another misconception, which is the fourth one out of the seven, is sponsorship is a get rich quick scheme. No, it's not. Just like everything else, you have to put the time in to be able to secure sponsors. The fifth one is you need to have experience or plan prior sponsored events. Not true. The first time anything happens in life is just at the first time. The first time I secured sponsors was just my first time. I was not a big time event planner. I wasn't any of that. I was just starting out with planning events and needed money to fund those events. When I learned about the word sponsorship, it just changed my whole entire life. I was able to get funding for the events that I was passionate about. So I just mixed what I learned, that new word, with my background in sales, and I was able to secure sponsors and changing up my language as well. So the sixth one is not enough sponsorship to go around. Well, no, it's not true. Sponsors don't need to only come from your immediate network. You can reach sponsors, which are again entities outside of your area, such as in a different part of the world. And number seven is sponsors and investors are the same, and that's not true. Not the same. When I first started, I did use the word investors, but I wasn't looking to flip anyone's money. Like, that's not what I do. I don't know how to do that. I was looking to build partnerships. I was looking to take an audience and place them in front of the brand that was targeting that audience, and even do something as crossover audience. Whereas I took this record label that made beats or produced for reggae artists, and I'm like, well, you can do the same thing for hip-hop artists, and they're now doing that as well. So definitely not the same, right? Investors and sponsors. Investors, you're looking to flip money, give people back in their money. Sponsors, you're flipping in a different way. You're not giving them back, actually, let's say that $10,000. You are giving them the $10,000 in benefits and solutions. You'll learn more about that. So we know what a sponsor is. We know the concept. We know how sponsors can save us money, and I'm going to tell you that now so you'll know. So let's say the event costs $10,000 and you don't have the $10,000. A sponsor comes in, cut you a check, send you the money for $10,000. Now you are able to pay for your event. You're able to cover the cost. So you didn't have to go borrow that money or use your credit card. So you just saved $10,000. That's how a sponsor saved you $10,000 by covering the cost of your event. Now, how can a sponsor make you money? Well, it's the same concept. Here it goes. The event costs $10,000, and part of your event is to make $10,000 from registration. That's how you plan on making your money back. You pay $10,000 for the event, and then the registration cost is $10,000. So you got a person to register, you made your money back, you broke even, you made no profit, you made no money on top, no money. So with a sponsor comes in and then pays for the cost of your event. They pay you that $10,000. So you hold on to your $10,000. It just sits there. Then that registration fee that person paid, you just made a $10,000 profit because you didn't have to pay that $10,000. So that's how sponsors make you money. Then the second thing, as I mentioned, how to make $10,000 in 1 hour securing sponsors is through knowing the right person. Sometimes we have the right people in our network, but we just don't know how to leverage that. So for example, I had a training event and a young woman came out to my event. I saw her later in my neighborhood and we spoke, and I found out that her cousin and we went to the same junior high school, and she was staying a couple blocks away. So there was a networking event, and I invited her to the networking event. And on our way back from the networking event, she spoke about her sponsors. She spoke about having Macy's as a sponsor. She spoke, which is a huge retailer, if you don't know. She spoke about her millionaire friends, her friends who were millionaires, that she converted them to be her sponsors. And I was in awe. I was like, really? That's good. And she said, Roberta, that's what I was trying to tell you, that your event taught me how to change up my language. And that's what I did. I changed up my language, and I was able to get my millionaire friends to become my sponsors. So knowing the right person is as important as knowing what to say to the right person, which brings me back to, again, understanding the concept of event sponsorship and knowing how to secure sponsors. So changing up your language is very important when you know the right person, and you have to change up your language anyway, or understand the lingo in order to communicate with sponsors more efficiently. This way you can have a meeting of the minds much faster. And the third thing is taking action. So you can understand the concept. You can have the right person in front of you, but if you don't take action, it's not going to work. So taking action means sending in a sponsorship proposal to, let's say, your friend. And just to go back to step number 2, I just would like to add on, sometimes it's not only your friends. Sometimes it could be a corporation that you are working at or used to work at, and they are a right fit for your event. So you can target them as a sponsor as well, because you already built the relationship with them, right? Now, moving forward into the third part, which is the taking action. Your sponsorship proposal, as with almost any proposal, I would believe it includes the 5 W's, right? The who, what, where, when, why, right? In your sponsorship proposal or in a proposal, but in a sponsorship proposal, things like when is the sponsor going to get a return is something that should be considered, something that should be placed in your sponsorship proposal when it's time to take action. Plus, your sponsorship proposal will serve as a roadmap. It will remind you, which I can remember, like, this is what I agreed to do. And the sponsor was like, yep, that's what you agreed to do. And you can use that as proof. Well, we accomplished this, we accomplished that. In your sponsorship proposal, you want to offer benefits that can help them achieve their goals, your sponsor's goal and their objectives, and help them to solve a problem. For example, here's this. You have someone who you know who's a millionaire, and he is looking to, let's take Grant, for example, and Grant is looking to have 8,000 representatives working for him. He currently, let's say, have 4,000. I don't know, these numbers might be inflated or deflated, I don't know. But if you work for Grant, you know, and you should know his goals. So let's say he has 4,000 representatives, and he's looking to have 8,000. Now you could come in and let's say you're looking for that $10,000 and say, hey, Grant, I'm going to help you to get to this 8,000 representatives. But here is how we're going to do this. Here's how I can help you get there. I can bring you in 2,000 representatives who are Spanish speaking. I speak Spanish fluently, and I can bring them in. Right now, we only soliciting English speaking representatives. So I am going to target the Spanish speaking audience. And of course, you can come in and you can pop up and I'll translate what you say and all of that stuff. But I will bring in 2,000 representatives, and I'm going to do so by June 5th, 2023. Let's just say. And the cost of this is $10,000, $100,000, whatever that cost is that you need to reach those audience. And remember to put a profit in there if you so choose, right? And you submit that sponsorship proposal to Grant, and he says, sure, you know, let's do this. And you just secured yourself a sponsor in less than an hour by making that phone call or having him face to face. And even if he's on this call, all right, you just secured $10,000. You just make $10,000 in 10 minutes securing sponsors. So that's how you do it. Thank you for allowing me to share.